Let us see about the histopathological features of odontogenic keratocyst. How is the specimen received by the pathologist? If it is going to be a small lesion, it is usually received intact. Okay, the specimen will be received intact, and the lining epithelium, if you see, it is usually thin walled epithelium, and this thin walled epithelium will be collapsed, and it will also be folded. Okay. After processing the tissue, when viewed in the microscope, when viewed under the microscope, what are the features we can appreciate? Now, consider this diagrammatic representation. Okay, this is the odontogenic keratocyst. This is the cystic cavity, and surrounding is the fibrous connective tissue wall. In this diagram itself, what are the features we can appreciate? One by one, we will note it down. Okay. First, what can we describe about the lining epithelium? We can see it is of the uniform thickness. So, the lining epithelium is of uniform thickness. How many cell layer thickness it is present? If you count, approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, it is usually 5 to 8 cell layer thickness. Okay, 5 to 8 cell layer thickness. How is the keratin surface? The surface keratin or the keratin layer is usually corrugated in appearance, or you can also call it to be wrinkled in appearance. Okay. Then what type of an epithelium is this? This is a stratified squamous epithelium. So, stratified squamous epithelium we can describe as uniform thickness, 5 to cell layer thickness of stratified squamous epithelium, with this keratin layer being corrugated or wrinkled in appearance. Then, what are the basal cells? How do the basal cells appear? You can very well appreciate they appear to be columnar. Okay, sometimes the basal cells are also cuboidal. Mostly in case of orthokeratinized cysts, they appear cuboidal. How are the other cells? The other layers are polyhedral. Cells of the other layers are polyhedral in shape. Sometimes they can also be intracellular edema present. And what type of the keratin here it is present? It is the parakeratin. Okay, so it is a parakeratinized surface epithelium. This or orthokeratinized is an entirely different entity of the keratocyst. Orthokeratinized odontogenic keratocyst, OOC, it is also there. We will see about that later. Okay. Then, how is the nucleus of this basal cell? The basal cell nucleus is away from the basement membrane. So, how do you describe it? It is away from the basement membrane. Now, the surrounding connective tissue wall, if you note, there is another cyst here, which is a smaller cyst. So, this you can call the presence of microcyst in the surrounding connective tissue wall. In this cyst cavity, what you can see? Pink material. So, you can say that to be the desquamated keratin, which is present within the cystic cavity. It is a desquamated keratin present within the cystic cavity. Basal cells can be described as, the alignment of the basal cells can be described as picket fence appearance, or it can also be described as row of tombstone appearance. Okay, it is like this, right? Picket fence appearance, or it can also be described as row of tombstone appearance. Okay, this is an important MCQ question which is commonly asked. Moving up to the treatment part of the odontogenic keratocyst. Various modalities are suggested and discussed, okay, based on what the treatment is decided for the odontogenic keratocyst, based on the size of the lesion, the extent of the lesion, the age of the patient, whether it is a primary lesion or a recurrent lesion, whether any bony perforation is present, and what is the involvement of the adjacent soft tissue, the soft tissue involvement, and also the site of the lesion, that is the location of the lesion. So based on these parameters, the treatment modality is suggested for the odontogenic keratocyst. Usually either marsupialization or either enucleation with primary closure or enucleation with packing open. They are the treatment plans suggested. Now, what is the period of follow-up? A minimum of 5 years of follow-up has to be done for the odontogenic keratocyst patient because of increased tendency for recurrences. Okay. Now, talking about recurrences, we shall see why recurrence occurs in OKC. It was Pinborg and Hansen in 1963 who first described about the aggressive behavior of odontogenic keratocyst. Okay, what are the reasons for increased rate of recurrence for odontogenic keratocyst? It is first we can tell about the microcysts, which are otherwise called as the satellite cysts. So when these satellite cysts, when they are left behind after the surgical enucleation of the odontogenic keratocyst, if they are not completely removed, then they can develop into a odontogenic keratocyst. Talking about the lining, either the lining can be thin and fragile so that the surgeon is not able to remove the lining remove the lining completely and the cyst as a single unit, or it can be because the lining has got scalloped margins, because of which it can be left behind, some amount of lining can be left behind, or in the presence of any important structure vicinity to vital structure, when the cyst is in vicinity to vital structures, in that case also incomplete removal of the lining can result. And discussing about the origin, we already saw two origins, that is the dental lamina remnants and also the basal cell offshoots or the basal cell hamartias. Okay, so when any remnants of this dental lamina, when they are left behind, again that can result in recurrence. And the basal cell hamartias, since they can also be thought as the origin for odontogenic keratocyst, the overlying mucosa has also need to be removed. Okay, the overlying mucosa, if not excised properly, can also result in recurrence of odontogenic keratocyst. Thank you.